Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is our vision to find oil in Israel to finance the winning of souls, sports stadiums, and thousands upon thousands of people coming to the Lord. Okay, now, before we get into that, I got two things to share. One, it's that time again. I've emptied all of our accounts, put them all in the Prophecy Club account, and there's nothing I can do. I can't transfer any more money. In 36 to 48 hours, I project that we are going to be hitting red in Prophecy Club. So if you can help, now would be a really good time because most of the bills that hit us have hit in the last half of the month, as in now. So if God has blessed you, you can help. Thank you very much. Also, so what happened was I got an email that EMP Shield had a special going, but it was only until the close of business. So I mailed them back and I said, look, that doesn't help our people because before I can get it out, it's going to be over. So they made a special offer just for Prophecy Club people. Now, here's the normal offer. You go to EMP Shield and you get you one of these for each one of your cars. They also have a version for your house. And they have videos show you how to do it. It's not complicated, not difficult at all. Normally, you go to empshield.com and you enter promo code PROPHECY, get you a $50 discount. But here's what they've done. If you'll go to first you have to do the checkout, then you do the prophecy code, the discount code, then you'll also enter a second code just for Prophecy Club people, and the word is Spirit. And that is not only going to give you a $50 discount on each one of these, but it also gives you a 10% discount code over the entire order. But it doesn't start until, till Monday, June 23rd for 1 week, 7 days, and it ends Monday, June 30th. So I'm telling you a couple of days early before the offers come up to make sure everybody has a chance to know this offer is coming along. This will give you an extra 10% off along with the normal $50 of each unit. Now, let me say it again. So this is the normal prophecy promo code, get you $50 off each unit. However, as of June 23rd through June 30th, you'll get an additional 10% off the entire order, but it ends June 30th, and it doesn't start till June 23rd. So there it is. That's a very good deal. Matter of fact, they've never done that before, and I think they're just doing it because Prophecy Club been one of their good supporters. Okay, so about our vision to drill oil in Israel. Now, why is God doing this? Because he's raising up his people, the children of Israel, in these last days. And he has chosen, I believe, me and this ministry to bless because he knows he can trust us with the money. And I'm going to show you many reasons why I say that. So let's start with 2008. In my prayer closet before I went to bed one night, I said, Lord, I hope you're pleased with these prophecy meetings that we're doing because we're spending $3,500 per city and not many people showing up, not many people interested in prophetic oil. And that night, I promise, I heard these words, Stan, I will give you the money to drill the well in Israel. Well, it woke me up and I answered out loud. I said, the oil well in Israel? But there was no more response. But then the rest of the night, and I seldom mention this, he kept talking to me. But the only thing I can remember from that night is this. He showed me Leslie holding up various newspapers with those newspaper headlines on it. And he said, quote, when these prophecies I gave your wife begin to come to pass, people from all directions will begin to turn and listen to your ministry. The number one, well, I'll put it this way. Dale Carnegie said he likes strawberries. But when he goes fishing, he doesn't put a strawberry on the hook. He puts a worm. So you got to have the right bait, okay? The number one bait to win people into the kingdom has and always will be the gospel, the blood of Jesus. However, I believe the number two bait is Dmitri Duduman's warning that the fall of America will start with an internal revolution. But that takes money. And I believe that he's going to send the oil to give us the money to take that message all across America and around the world. Now, on to the next one. As for the confirmation, I don't think I've ever covered this on the air before. So here's what happened. January 26, 2003, I woke up out of this dream, and as I was waking up, Leslie was patting me on the leg, waking me up, saying, I had a dream, I had a dream, I had a dream. And I said, me too. She said, well, let me tell you mine first. So I'm going to tell you mine, then I'll tell you hers. And they match, okay? They have the same confirmation. Essentially what this dream is going to say is, through oil, God is going to give me the money to, well, personally buy a lot of stuff, but to win a lot of souls. So in the dream, I was in a car going around a mountain pass on a 2-lane blacktop road, and it has a lot of details I don't need to go through. Essentially, I slid off of that, and then a parachute appeared on the car, and I gently landed on top of a tall building next to a, what do you call it, like an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Next to the pool, as I landed very gently from the car, changed into an easy chair, and there was Hayseed Stevens. And he says, howdy, partner. It's about time you get here. Meaning, oil is going to bring extreme wealth into my hands. Yeah, I know it's not for me, okay? It's for soul winning. I know that, and you know that. And because I know that is the reason he's giving it to me. Now, on to the next one. This is what Leslie had. So she said, the house was our personal house. It had many stories to it. It was massive. Our children decided to play a game where they were sliding down. You can pause and read all the details if you want to. Sliding down a waterfall. So we had a 3-story house. The children were sliding down the waterfall in the house. Now, the whole point here, God is trying to say he's going to bless us very big. Now, let me get on to the next one because I'm going to run out of time here. Then, 2003, I had another dream. An oil friend of mine, an intercessor from our congregation, and myself, 3 people, were in an SUV driving around in a desert area I believe to be Israel. We were looking for another place to drill a well in Israel, meaning we'd already hit oil in one place or maybe several places. We're looking for the next place. I was driving around with a huge steak in my lap. Every once in a while, I would reach down and cut off a piece of that steak, throw it in my mouth, meaning I was the one, the steak represents the finances. I was the one that had the money to drill this well, but it happened because I had a friend of mine as an expert in finding oil wells, and behind me was the intercessor from a church. In other words, like our fasting and prayer team. So we're only going to do all of this because I guess we have now 1,450 some odd people in the fasting prayer team. That's essentially what it says. Again, if you want to read the whole thing, you can pause and read it, but I got to move. Okay. Then 2006, I was waking up out of this, and I heard the audible voice of God say, I looked down, and there was a plane about this long, and I saw a little bitty ladder of people getting on the plane and onto the plane. I heard a voice say, 2 men will get on a plane with a virus. Before the plane lands, everyone on board will be dead. This will be the beginning of the end of public air transportation. Well, just waking up, I said, what? And the voice rebuked me. It said, you weren't listening, and repeated it. 2 men will get on a plane with a virus. Before the plane can land, everyone on board will be dead. This will be the beginning of the end of public air transportation. Now, for a long time, I didn't know why he told me that, but now I know. Because one of the things he's laid on my heart to do is to buy an airline. I didn't say an airplane. I said an airline so that I can fly Christians and Jews back to Israel to build the land of unwalled villages, Ezekiel 38:11. In other words, I want to say to Israel, look at, normally the oil company gets 7/8 and the nation gets 1/8. But I want to say to him, look at, I'm willing to give you more, but I need you to give me a large plot of land and permission to fly Christians and Jews from around the world to Israel. You vet the Jews, you decide who comes. and let me vet the Christians, because our team will be able to spot a real Christian. And then build the land of unwalled villages, a place for the woman to sleep, a place for the church to have a plot of land. We're not going to get their head cut off and the mark of the beast and things like that. And there's more on that here in just a second. Let me move on. Unbeknownst to me, I had another dream. Okay, so here's what happened. In 2006, I was pretty frustrated with the whole vision to find oil in Israel. Hayseed's company, at this time, Hayseed had died, and his company was not doing well. So I just said, look, I think I'm just going to sell all my stock and cash out and walk away from this oil thing. But just as a double check, I said, Lord, if you want me to stay involved with oil in Israel, then here's what I ask. Give me a dream tonight. I have never been on an oil rig. I was raised in Odessa, Texas, out in the heart of the oil patch, but I never set foot on an oil rig and never even been close to an oil rig. I'd like for you to show me what it's like on an oil rig when oil comes in. That night, I had this dream. Again, you can read the words if you want to, but I'm going to summarize it. Essentially, I was on this oil rig, and about that time, a voice right there behind me said, "There she blows." And about that time, air started coming out of the pipe, out of the ground. And I mean, it was high pressure air. It was a splitting, high pitch whistle. And it finally died down. And then oil started bubbling out. And it was colored brown sugar, bubbling out about 4 to 6 feet up, meaning God wanted me to stay involved with oil in Israel. It's part of his plan. Now, on to the next one. I didn't ask for this one either. 2012. I remember this specifically too. I had a friend behind me, which I think represents our investors. And all of a sudden, I ran and jumped up on this old abandoned pump jack foundation. What's that? Again, I used to play on them when I was a kid. It's where one of these pump jacks, that does this, okay? It's where one of these pump jacks had originally set on a large chunk of concrete that is like about 4 foot high, about 4 foot across, and about 8 to 10 foot long, and it's like in the shape of a T, okay? And I went and jumped up on this concrete, and I pointed down to the ground, and I said, there's oil coming out of that ground. And about that time, it started shaking really, really deep. And then in the distance, it went, psh. There was about 8 to 12 dry holes, previously dry wells, that all of a sudden now oil flowed into the formation, and oil squirted up, went psh, up, and then they just fell back silent. I turned to my friend behind me, which was faceless, and I said, oil just flowed into this formation. Quick, we got to get the papers. We got to go file to get this land before somebody else finds oil flowed into the formation. Now, that's one of the first things I want to do is get a team of people whom I have already been talking to many times over the years, and I know the verse to quote when I'm there, to pray, asking the land of Israel, commanding in the name of Jesus to release the oil to the people of Israel, to the children of Israel. And I believe that there's going to be an earthquake, and it's going to happen just like that, because I'm about to show you another one as to why I say that. Now, there's all the details. You can pause and you can read it if you want to. But there is one thing I need to point out. Out of one of those wells, it did like the oil was going up, and it just did a 90-degree turn. Boom, hit on my white T-shirt, meaning me white, washed in the blood of Jesus, but some of it was for me personally. Hence the two dreams of the nice house, okay, and the high-rise office building. All right, now, here's a further confirmation. 10/10 of 12. We took Maurice Sklar out to eat. He was speaking here at the Prophecy Club. And as he was eating, all of a sudden he said, Lord, here? He said, the anointing just touched me. So I grabbed my cell phone, started recording the prophecy. This is part of it. This is the part that dealt with oil. He says, I'm also going to give you oil, petroleum and gas that I promised. He didn't even know we had a vision to find oil in Israel. He had never been told about it. What this will do is money will no longer be an issue. I see you in Israel, even east of Jordan. It's towards Saudi Arabia. There is oil there. I see you also going back and forth from America to Israel. Wow, I'm getting a vision. You're going to be helping the 144,000. You're going to be helping the communication and the provision. You're going to be a financer. How many times you got to hear from God before you start saying, you know what, there's something to this? Now let's jump to 2001, oil in Israel. Mary Jean Stevens, Hayseed's wife, and Joe Dollins, which works for Prophecy Club, were taking Mary Jean back home. Now, there's some details I got to cover that's important. When we got to her house, Mary Jean said, Hayseed is home, meaning, I think, when oil is found in Israel, Hayseed is home, as in dead. Well, he died in 2003. Now, I'm going to skip down. He said to me, God is about to bless you guys abundantly, and I mean soon. On the drive back home, I noticed I still had his remote control, meaning God has put the control of finding oil in Israel into my hands. The scene shifted to a map of Israel. I saw massive oil flow from the foot of Tantara. I'm not releasing that information. There was a massive flow from Tantara to Tantara. It tells us where the oil is located. He said oil come flowing from the Tantara to the Tantara, and massive oil is going to be discovered. Now, the whole point is it's another confirmation. Let's move on. Now, I have to tell you, a disclaimer. We're not offering stock yet. Perhaps we will at the right time. But here's a disclaimer. We cannot guarantee where we're going to get the money drilled for or hit oil in Israel. Now let's jump to 2002. I've covered part of this. You've seen this many times. But I haven't given you the whole dream, but only once or twice. This is the whole dream. So I dreamt that Mary Jean Stevens and I were at a meeting. I'm going to skip there, and it says, we were ministering. Mary Jean got a call from Hayseed. Mary Jean, you need to get home. War's about to break out here in Israel. Now, that's the first thing. Want to know when oil is going to be found in Israel? Has to do with when war breaks out in Israel. Like now? Probably. She came over to me and told me that Hayseed said he left to go home. Well, Hayseed died back 2003. Now, to us, that's a long time, but to God, 1,000 years is a day, a day is 1,000 years. Skipping on down, I saw a news report on television that announced that Israel had given the Palestinians a state. We haven't seen that yet, but that's part of it. However, it may be that this whole thing with Iran may be getting us very close to a Palestinian state. So I'm skipping down. Arafat in the hospital, don't have time to read the whole thing. You can pause and read the whole thing if you want to. Inside this small room was a woman, meaning the church. However, as we began to talk, she kept saying, huh. She couldn't hear very well. And most of the Christians, sad to say, can't hear prophecy too well, and they certainly can't understand oil in Israel too well. The man said, don't worry about the people outside the waiting room. Even if they can hear us, they will not understand. They'll think what we're saying is foolishness. As you know, you start talking to people about Bible prophecy, their eyes start crossing, the window shade comes down, they just can't get it. Especially, even more complicated, oil in Israel. They will not pay us any attention. Now, here comes the important part. I told him that Israel will give the Palestinians a state, but it'd be a temporary arrangement to give the Jews enough time to regroup and get the armed forces prepared. I told him oil will come forth quickly. The discovery of large amounts of oil, will make the Jewish people willing to fight for their land. Israel and America will go against most of the rest of the Arab world. That's not the current war going on now. That doesn't happen until there's a Palestinian state. Okay, got it? So all of this, I give you the details for this, which you've already seen. The point being, there may be some kind of war between Israel and Iran, but it's not going to involve Israel and America against all the rest of the Arab world. That's not time yet. Not until there's a Palestinian state. Not until there's oil discovery, not until Israel has built up their military. I'm running short on time. Let me move. 2017, Pastor Massey, a miracles ministry guy, I've talked about him, called me. He did not know that we had a vision to find oil in Israel. Here's what he said. He said, war in Israel will come soon, probably now. Israel will get back out of the land, but I don't think that happens until after the Palestinian state oil is discovered and Israel and America will go against most of the Arab world. That's when they get back their their land. Israel knows it has more oil than in Saudi Arabia, but it has not been drilled yet. But this news has not been released to the public. The Lord is going to give wealth to the wicked of Saudi Arabia to Israel. Oil is located at the southwest end of the Dead Sea. God is going to punish the Arabs for their crimes against Israel and the Christians. He's going to cause the oil to flow underground to Israel. He did not know of a vision to find oil in Israel. He says, let me skip. I'm running out of time here. Let me move on. Okay, so what does the Bible say? And now I've found 65 verses. It would take me an hour, 2 hours to cover all of them. This is skinny of the best ones. You can read most of it if you want to. Jacob will gather and shall befall you in the last days. When will the oil be discovered? In the last days, at the latter end. Asher, his bread or his income shall be fat. Fat is crude oil. Let Asher dip his foot in oil. Joseph is a fruitful bough by a well or an oil well. Blessings will be on the crown of the head of Joseph. Precious things of the earth and fullness on the head of Joseph. Oil is deep in the earth. Blessed be the land that deep that coucheth beneath. Blessings of the deep that lieth under. Treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places. And I got 3 DVDs out on that. You can watch them at watchprophecyclub.com. Get all the skinny on it. The next set of scriptures is, God, this is fat. Fat is, when it says fat, it's talking about crude oil. God give thee the fatness of the earth. Dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. But Jeshurun, which is another word for Israel, waxed fat and waxen fat. Israel is the best land on earth. 2 verses say it's the glory of all lands, the glory of all lands. So, here's what it's saying. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. It's telling us we will see a Palestinian state someday, but it's not until point number 5, Israel's attacked America, sends troops, that Israel gets back all of their land. Hello, I'm Stan.
And I'm Leslie Johnson.
And we want to invite you to the PHD, the Prophecy, Healing, and Deliverance Conference.
So I hope you'll come from September the 11th through the 14th.
We have 6 seasoned ministers, 10 sessions, 2.5 days. I'm going to be speaking on Mark of the Beast, dangers of AI, and the new timing of the rapture.
And I'm going to speak on how to get ahead spiritually, close those spiritual doors, and the role of the prophet.
Lou and Sunhee Deliverance Ministries are going to be speaking on healing childhood experiences, what is eating you, spirit of infirmity, and yes, they will be doing deliverances.
Yes. And then Pastor Kate and Jonathan will be speaking on relationships.
It's limited to 100 registrations, so go to prophecyclub.com, get signed up, or
traintheprophets.com. We hope to see you there.
In 2021, I started making bread, and long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat a morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon. Always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out, josephskitchen.com. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians, and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper, and as Lindsey Williams says, If it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. Now, if you've been with Prophecy Club for a while, you know that these used to be an organization that we sponsored. Then Joseph Kitchen came along, so we dropped this one. But there's been a need to bring this one back. So what's the difference? This is wheat berries that you grind up and make your own homemade whole wheat bread. This is food that comes in a bucket. You just add water. Some of them you have to add boiling water, and you make your own food. So there's different kinds of food. So if you want this kind of food, you go to heavensharvest.com, heavensharvest.com. Use the promo code PROPHECY, get you a 10% discount. Okay, the very best offer we have ever had of the Prophecy Club is 40 books for a gift of $100. That is How Pre-Trib Won, Tribulation Secrets in Daniel, God's Warnings to America, Miss the Mark, and The Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. I'll explain. As I've said many times, in 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation. I got 30 revelations, 2 visions, and an audible voice. God showed me a secret door, the word first fruits, which is found in Leviticus and also Revelation, that links the feasts to the prophecies of Revelation. And perhaps for the first time, Revelation can be understood. One prophetic word said, there's a lock. I put over a word in the book of Revelation. I'm going to open it to you. It will turn many books written on the end time message into obsolete books. That's this book. Secondly, I put together a collection of the very best prophecies from 32 years in Bible prophecy. Dimitri Duduman, Michael Boldale, Leslie Johnson, Henry Groover, Shane Warren, Terry Bennett, Maurice Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, and more in God's Warnings to America. Also, how do you talk to people about the mark of the beast, especially if they worship another god? Well, simple way is give them this book. It's a quick read. Takes about 3 hours to read it. But if they'll read 2 or 3 pages, they'll probably read the book. And if they read the book, they will never take the mark of the beast. It explains both the mark of the beast and also the number of the name, and it has these pictures in the book. Finally, How Pre-Trib Won. This book explains the truth about the rapture. It gives 4 foundations for the real truth about the rapture. It also answers 25 pre-trib questions, 1 for $20, each one of these typically, but don't do that. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets. The very best deal is go to prophecyclub.com and get the entire 40-book set for $100. I didn't cover every verse in the book of Daniel, didn't need to. I just covered the verses that has to do with us end-time saints. And it's called Tribulation Secrets in Daniel, 1 for $20, 10 for $30, 20 for $50 at prophecyclub.com.